All right, lesson 10.2, graphing linear equations in two variables. Give me 1 second, I'll pull up some of my notes. Okay, perfect. Okay, what are going to be our objectives in this? We're going to be looking at graph linear equations by plotting points on the line, just like we did last one. Graph linear equations by finding and plotting their x and y intercepts. And we're going to graph horizontal and vertical lines. Continuing on, let's look at a definition here of any equation in the form of ax plus by equals c, where c is a constant. X and y are just going to be variables, and notice that a, b, and c are real numbers. Okay, real numbers, remember, kind of learned about those. Any number, didn't just say integer there. And then a and b are not both equal to 0. Okay, that means one of these can be equal to 0, but not both of them. Okay, and this is called the standard form of a linear equation. And then notice that's just basically what I just said about the zeros. Alright, continuing on, procedure. We're going to locate any 2 points that satisfy the equation. Choose values for the x and y that lead to values that are easily calculated for the other variable. Okay, and just remember that there are an infinite number of choices for either x or y. Okay, plot these points on the coordinate system. And then we're going to draw, just kind of connect those points and then check. We can find a third point that satisfies the equation to check to see if the line does work. Okay, let's look at one of their examples and then we'll do some of our own. Alright, example 1 here, we've got y equals 2x, and they give us a solution here where they substitute in -1, 0, and 1. What they've done here is they've created a chart. They've done x's, they've done y's, and they put the formula here in the middle. Notice what they're doing is they're saying, okay, well, what is y going to equal if I make x equal -1? Remember, they're saying in here that you can replace any number you want, okay? Any number you want for x, okay? Any real number you want. So pick some easily calculable numbers, and notice that's exactly what they did. Well, -1. Well, looking in here, -1 times 2 is going to give us the -2, and so therefore we get the point, okay? -1, -2. There's our first point. Then we get a point here for 0. Well, 0 times 0 up here equals 0. So we get another point, 0, 0. And then we plot. And then continue on with the 1. And then when you calculate everything, you get the point 1, 2. And then you can connect all those lines together. And there is a linear equation. There is a perfect definition of what a linear equation is, because when you keep plotting in these points, you end up creating a line. Okay, let's check out another example here. Alright, graph 2x plus 3y equals 6. Okay, as it says here, solution, make a table with the headings x and y, and whenever possible, choose values for x and y that lead to values that are easily calculated. Okay, let me come over here. Alright, notice, got a little, a little chart here. Me, whenever I do mine, I usually just do x and y together, and I'll calculate off here to the side. But honestly, it's truly up to you however you want to do it, okay? It's whatever you think is most simple. Okay, so let's calculate some variables here. Okay, let's say we pick, let me get my pen out here. Let's make one of our points 0. Okay, so when x is 0, well, what are we going to get? Let's replace, wherever there's an x, let's put a 0 there. So I've got 2 times 0 plus 3y is all equal to 6. Well, notice what's going to happen here. 2 times 0 is just 0. Then I'm going to have 3y. That's going to be what's left, because remember, this is going to be gone. So I can divide 3, and I'm going to get, well, what's 6 divided by 3? Well, that's going to be a 2. So one of my coordinate points is going to be 0, 2. So let's come over here. Well, if x is 0, I can't go anywhere. I can't go right or left. And then I can go up to 2. Well, there's a point there. Perfect. Well, let's try another point. How about, let's do -3. Okay, we'll put in -3. So that gives me 2 times -3 plus 3y equals 6. Okay, 2 times -3 is going to give me a -6. Okay, well, that's going to be -6 plus 3y equals 6. So, since I have -6, let's add 6. Okay, or sorry, yes, let's add 6 over here, and then we're going to add 6 over here. Well, that's going to give me 3y equals 12. Well, then I can divide off 3, and notice 12 divided by 3 is going to give me 4. Perfect. So let's come over here and let's look at go to the -3. So we're going to do the x and y, and since we're going to be negative, we're going to go left. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go up to 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there's a point there. At this point, we have 2 points. You could technically graph this right now, and you'd be just fine. You'd be justified in doing this. Okay, but we can go ahead and graph one more if we want to. Let's go ahead and just do 3. Okay, if we do 3, we get 2 times 3, okay, plus 3y is equal to 6. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 3y equals 6. Well, let's just subtract 6, and then we get 3y is equal to 0. Divide off the 3, and notice 0 divided by 3 is 0. So then we get the 3 here for the x, so another coordinate point is going to be 3, 0, and there's it right there. And I'm going to go ahead and try my hardest. It's going to look horrible, but I can come in here and draw a line through here. Okay, and that would be the graph of this line with the points 0, 2. So here's 1. Where's 0, 2? Okay, -3, 4. And then also points 3, 0. And that's exactly how that's going to work. All right, let's continue on here. All right, we're going to start looking for y and x-intercepts. To find the y-intercept where the line crosses the y-axis, substitute x for x is 0. Okay, notice what it says here. Look, when x is 0, where is it crossing? And solve for y. To find the x-intercept, make the y 0. Okay, so that's just kind of how you remember it. To get the x-intercept, make the y 0. To get the y-intercept, make the x 0. Okay. And in general, intercepts are easy to find because substituting 0 for xy leads us to an easy solution for the variable. Okay, however, let's see here. Yeah, this just talks about if you have to find a fraction. Okay, so let's look here. Graph x plus 3y equals 9 by locating the y-intercept and the x-intercept. Okay. Well, let's find the y-intercept. Remember, when you find the y-intercept, that's where x equals 0. Okay, so if we look at this, let's come in here. Well, where does x equal 0 at? Well, we're going to put 0 plus 3y equals 9. Divide off the 3. Sorry. And then we get y equals 3. Perfect. So our y-intercept is going to be 0, 3. Well, let's find the x-intercept. Remember, when you have the x-intercept, that's when y equals 0. So we can come in here and go x plus 3 times 0 equals 9. Well, 3 times 0 is just 0, and that leaves us just at x equals 9. And so here, you're going to have 9, comma, and then the 0. So we can come down here, and normally you could graph these, but on this one, what you would have is like a point that would kind of go like this, and I don't have a graph for that right now, but we can look at one that we will have a graph. So let's look at this one right here. Okay, graph x minus 5y equals 5 by locating the y-intercept and the x-intercept. Okay, well, once again, remember, where does x equal 0? Okay, to locate the y-intercept, well, that's going to be where x equals 0. So on our first point here, we're going to have 0 minus 5y equals 5. Okay, well, notice that that's just going to be 0, so that's going to be negative 5y equals 5. Divide off the negative 5, and you get y equals negative 1. So one of my points is going to be, remember, the y-intercept is where x equals 0 and negative 1. Okay, well, how about the x-intercept? X-intercept is going to be the same thing. X-intercept is going to be where y equals 0. So I'll come in here and just put 5 times 0, and this is going to be our x. I'm writing that horribly today on this one. Not enough room on this sometimes whenever you're trying to do graphing as well. X intercept. So 5 times 0 equals 5. Well, notice 5 times 0 is just 0, so you're going to get x equals 5. Well, one of your other points could be 5, 0. So let's come in here, and I'm just going to draw an easy little graph here. Okay, so one of my points, my y-intercept, is going to be at 0, -1. We can come in here. Very quick graph, so you kind of see what it's saying. Well, the y-intercept is at 0, -1. So 0, let's get another color here. 0, -1. Okay, my x-intercept is at 5, 0. Well, that's coming up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it doesn't go up or down because of the 0. And so this would be the x and y intercept. And this is what it means. If I can do that a little bit better, notice your x-intercept is where it's crossing the x-axis, because that's your x. This is your y. Make that look a little bit more like a y there. Okay, and this is where it crosses the y-intercept. And that's exactly how they'll graph every single time. Okay, and then let's do one more here. I want to see if you can do this. Graph the line y equals 4 or 0x plus 4 equals 4. Okay, choose 3 values for x. I want you to notice something. Look at this. Or, notice there's not a x. So, no matter what I put in here, okay, let's say I make x equal 1. Okay, let's do it. Let's make x equal 1. Oops, sorry. Get my pen out here. Okay, make x equal, let's do -1. Well, notice if I put -1 times x, okay, well, that's going to be times 0 plus y equals 4. Well, notice here, I'm going to have 4. Okay, well, how about we put in -3? Well, -3 times 0 plus y equals 4. Well, once you do that, you still get 4. Well, then I can do, let's say, 5. Well, I got 5 times 0 plus y equals, well, 4. Well, it's still going to equal 4. So notice, no matter what happens, I'm always going to have, I go here to -1, come up to 4. Okay? Well, how about go to -3? Come up to 4. Well, how about go over to 5? Come up to 4. Notice what I've created here is basically, not basically, I have created a straight line. So when you have something of y equals 4, you have a horizontal line, okay, at where y equals 4. And the opposite is true. If I had something like where I have, say, x equals 4, well, come over here, and then you have a vertical line. Okay, and this would be where x equals 4. And that's exactly what this next definition says. Okay, for real numbers a and b, the graph of y equals b is a horizontal line, and x equals a is a vertical line. Okay, very simple. Okay, let's go ahead and do some hogs.